Welcome back, Love Nation. This is Nina. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. Thank you to everybody that has been coming to my channel. Like this video, share this video, and hit that notification bell so you guys know when I drop my next one. You guys, we are going into chapter 3 of this amended lawsuit, which includes a lot of other celebrity names as well as Diddy employees concerning the matter of Ashley P. And this is getting more into the trigger warning area of this lawsuit. Again, we are going into the trigger warning area of this lawsuit. I will be using rephrased phrasings for YouTube. However, please feel free to read along with me as I try to paraphrase this as much as possible. This is very graphic. Trigger warning again. This is part 3. Share your comments below. And here we go. Defendant Diddy, while R-wording Ashley P. with a television remote, told plaintiff that her life was in his hands and that if he wanted, he could take hers and she would never be seen again. Ashley began hysterically crying from what Diddy said, along with the pain of being violently R-worded by Diddy with the television remote, as well as the pain from the ordeal with the IED syringe insertion. Diddy then instructed Shane to turn Ashley on her stomach, seemingly tired of hearing the plaintiff's curdling cries. Shane then grabbed plaintiff by her abdomen and hips and turned plaintiff on her stomach. Defendant Diddy then instructed Shane to put a pillow over her head because he did not want to see her face or hear her cries, and instructed Shane to R-word plaintiff from behind. Shane did as he was told by Diddy and began to R-word Ashley. Defendant Diddy then R-worded Ashley from behind. After Shane, Defendant Doe number 2 then joined defendants Diddy and Shane, taking a turn from behind, R-wording Ashley. Immediately after Defendant Doe 2 R-worded plaintiff, he exited Shane's residence. Diddy then instructed another Defendant Doe to also R-word Ashley. Defendant Doe has been determined to be Defendant Druski. Druski, again, is a social media personality that has a very wide following. Again, I'm just reading from his lawsuit. I do not know this to be true or not. I am simply reading from this lawsuit in full. Instead of immediately R-wording Ashley, Druski doused Ashley with more lubricant and then jumped on top of Ashley's body and oil body, treating it like a slip and slide and knocking the wind out of plaintiff due to his enormous size. Druski then caught himself from sliding over Ashley's oil body and off the bed. He then began R-wording Ashley. While Defendant Druski was R-wording Ashley, Defendant Diddy sat in a chair near the bed and began pleasuring himself while recording Ashley's R-wording by Defendant Druski. Another party's phone fell off the bed near plaintiff. Ashley then attempted to grab the phone, but it slipped out of her hands and onto the floor due to the oil and lubricant that had been doused all over her by Defendant Diddy and Druski. Diddy began laughing at Ashley's attempt to grab the phone. Throughout this gang R-word, Diddy made constant belittling remarks to Ashley, including that he owned her now. At some point during this ordeal, Ashley remembers defendants referring to another defendant, Doe, as Cornelius, and remembered the name because it was so odd and unique. Plaintiff has come to discover that defendant Doe Cornelius, who R-worded her, was defendant Odell Beckham Jr. Ashley's body was becoming more and more limp over the course of what was going on until eventually she had no control over her body, nor could she move her body. When defendant Druski finished R-wording plaintiff, defendant KK entered the room to examine the condition of plaintiff Ashley, who was barely able to move or control her body functions. Defendant KK examined plaintiff to see if she needed assistance or was about to give plaintiff an IV fluid. Ashley cannot be certain if she did or did not receive such intravenous intervention. Defendant KK then opened a different bag, different than the one defendant Diddy removed the oil from, where plaintiff observed several medications, IV fluid bags, and other unidentified powder-like pharmaceuticals. Defendant KK then removed a pill from one of the medicine bottles and gave it to Diddy. Diddy then inserted the pill into plaintiff's mouth and down her throat to where plaintiff had no choice but to ingest the unknown pill. Defendants Diddy, Shane, KK, Odell, Druski then exited the residence to the backyard where they did pharmaceuticals and cigarettes. Plaintiff remained in an almost lifeless state in defendant Shane's bedroom until she finally regained her bodily functions. Plaintiff then began looking for her clothes in her purse. That contained her car keys and cell phone, but could not discover them in the room or anywhere in the apartment. Plaintiff was only able to find a t-shirt on the floor, which she put on to cover her unclothed body. Ashley also observed a black wrapper on the floor of the room, which she assumed was used by one of the defendants, most likely defendant Diddy, during the R word. Plaintiff then found the metallic sharp object with the assistance of Doe plaintiffs and headed to the backyard where defendants were puffing, as that was the only way to exit the premises onto the street. Ashley concealed the sharp object on her left side as she exited the apartment to the backyard area. Upon coming to the exit of the home, which led to the backyard, Ashley was met by defendant Big Homie CC, who was standing at the door between the residence and the backyard. By the time Ashley was able to compose herself and come to the backyard, defendant KK was no longer in the backyard, but upstairs on the patio balcony with defendant Brandy. Defendant Doe allowed plaintiff to walk to the backyard where defendants were still puffing away. Defendant Doe did not see the sharp object that Ashley concealed on her left side, as it was obstructed by the oversized t-shirt plaintiff was wearing. Plaintiff observed defendant Diddy still partially unclothed from what happened, while other defendants had on all of their clothes. Shane then left to the upstairs portion of the patio balcony, where defendants KK and Brandy were already situated. Plaintiff then sat down on the makeshift seat in the backyard when defendant Diddy noticed her presence and remarked that he was surprised she was able to walk because he had given her enough pharmaceuticals to take out a horse. Plaintiff then asked Diddy what he gave her, and he laughed and did not provide a response. Diddy then made further comments to plaintiff in a jovial, friendly manner, asking her why they hadn't partied together before, because it was so much fun, and he hadn't had any behind that tight in a while. Defendant Big Homie CC then quipped at defendant Diddy that he probably hadn't had any behind that tight because he's not used to having stuff from behind with women. Diddy and Doe laughed at that. Plaintiff then told Diddy she did not party with him and did not enjoy partying with him and that he R-worded her. Defendant Diddy did not take Ashley's response to his lighthearted commentary and offered plaintiff money and instructed Ashley to say that the R word was consensual and that Ashley was an adult worker. Ashley became enraged and yelled at Diddy that her R word was not consensual and she was not an adult worker, and she refused to take any money from him and will tell the police he had R-worded her. Defendant Diddy then told plaintiff no one would ever believe she had been R-worded by him, and if she did tell anyone such, that they would harm her family. Defendant Big Homie CC then showed plaintiff his phone, which looked as if it was the outside of plaintiff's estranged sister's residence, as she could see her sister sitting on a couch and her sister's spouse on a balcony. It looked as if someone was outside the residence streaming this video to defendant's Big Homie CC's phone. Ashley, while rattled by what she was seeing on defendant Big Homie CC's phone, was still angry about being R-worded and was not complying with Diddy's request to take the money being offered to say the R-word was consensual. Diddy then called defendant Janice in an effort to further convince Ashley to not report her SA. Janice yelled at plaintiff to not hurt her son. Plaintiff told defendant Janice that her son was Plaintiff told defendant Janice that her son had violently R-worded plaintiff. Defendant Janice, seemingly unfazed by the statement, then continued her demands with plaintiff Ashley to take the money being offered and not report the R-word to law enforcement. Defendant Diddy then made further threats that he had gotten off from bigger crimes than this and referred to Tupac again, further antagonizing Ashley. Defendant Big Homie CC then turned to defendant Diddy and pulled his pow-pow on him, asking to repeat what he had said in reference to Tupac. As the two of them were exchanging words, plaintiff went behind defendant Big Homie CC, where he seemingly began to protect plaintiff. Big Homie CC then advanced to defendant Diddy, questioning him over the comments he made about Tupac. During this commotion, a neighbor directly across the street came outside and peered into the backyard and asked what was all the commotion about. Big Homie CC then pointed the pow-pow at the neighbor and instructed him to mind his business and return to his residence. Big Homie CC then turned the pow-pow back on defendant Diddy's plaintiff Ashley, not far behind defendant Big Homie CC. Tried to grab defendant Big Homie CC hand that had the pow-pow. It went off and hit a hill behind defendant Shane's residence. Defendant Diddy then ran up the back stone stairs. I'm sorry, I'm going to read that again. Defendant Diddy ran back up the back stone stairs up near the hill in the backyard toward defendant KK, Shane, and Brandy were. Ashley charged toward defendant Diddy, moving the concealed sharp object from her left hand to her right hand in pursuit of defendant Diddy. We will conclude chapter 3 right here. We will continue with chapter 4. Please like, share, and subscribe. Till next time, be safe, enjoy your night, share your comments respectfully. Bye, guys.